Welcome to Sunday School. Now, I'm not dressed like this to look suave and handsome and debonair. I'm cold. I'm really cold. Constance and I are both really cold. And at the moment, I feel bad about complaining about how cold we are, because I know all over the country and all over the world there's blizzards and power outages and things like that. So really we have no reason to complain other than it's just damn freaking cold. And my nose is cold. It's freezing out there, and it's a thick fog. And my walk this morning was really atmospheric. And but anyway, obviously we're just not used to this, and we're real wusses because we spent our whole lives in Southern California, and but anyway, it is Sunday school time, and we're coming up to the end of our little journey through the previous astrological ages, these ages that last about 2,600 years. And we've come up finally to the age of Aquarius/Leo, which we're in right now, at least even according to, white bread astrologers. We've entered the astrological age of Aquarius, either within the last 100 years, okay? And we're coming right up. We're discussing what civilization has been going through, humanity as a whole, and civilizations and cultures and such have been going through during these periods, to sort of see what effects, if we can use that term, effects the astrological ages have had on the consciousness and the evolution of human thought. And just in case this is the first one we're looking at, when I say it's the age of Aquarius Leo, I'm talking about the situation of when the sun at the equinoxes appears to be standing in front of the astrological sign. In this particular case, there's the sun there, and you see Aquarius. And the Aquarius is sort of filtered through the sun onto the earth. But 180 degrees away, on the pole, if you will, of the shish kebab pole, is the sign of Leo. So in a sense, that has a very subtle or very unsubtle energies of Leo beaming directly at the earth, unfiltered by anything. So in a sense, we can't look at Aquarius without also seeing how we're affected by the opposite sign of Leo. And as we went through these different ages and stuff, would remember that in the age of Aries, the world was ruled by the iron militaristic iron fist of Rome, and at the same time, Rome and other things, and the idea of the lamb the ram replacing human sacrifice, and on the opposite side was Libra, and that was the age of Hammurabi and the great lawgivers of humanity. That's when Moses, the lawgiver of Moses, in the myth of Moses anyway, took hold. And so we're at Aquarius, Leo at the moment. And I start off with a quote. I quote myself. If I don't do it, no one will. With that line right there, the gods of one age become the devils of the age to follow. The priests look forward to the coming age and see only the end of the world. Not being endowed with the gift of prophecy, I will not presume to predict the details of the Aquarian age worship. I will nonetheless venture to predict that the gods of the Aquarian age will be diametrically opposed to the gods of the age of Pisces, which we've just come out of. Already, all over the world, we see the decay of the repressive patriarchal establishments that have held sway for the last 2,000 years. It's almost comical, for one so tragic. It's almost comical to see how foolish and myopic the old establishments appear when juxtaposed with the rational goals of universal human rights, the women's movement, and the global environmental awareness. I suppose it's very natural for the participants of a revolution to despise and demonize the icons of the overthrown administration. The early Christian church perpetuated a legend that at the moment of Christ's birth, all the oracles of antiquity fell silent, and that an Egyptian sailor named Thamus heard an unearthly voice call to him from the Isle of Paxi, announcing, quote, "Thamus, the great god Pan is dead," unquote. As historically dubious as this story is, it serves to illustrate my point. Pan, who started life as the endearingly mischievous god of Thracian shepherds, eventually became the transcendent symbol of all pagan gods. All actually means Pan, okay? Lump them all together and there's Pan, all. His ruddy complexion, horns, and cloven hooves became, in the age of Pisces, the very image of Satan, the prince of evil. Now, I got a footnote about this Thamus, great Pan is dead story here. The, quote, all great Tammuz, the Babylonian sun god, who was killed by evil forces, but eventually resurrected by his mother, wife Ishtar. Tammuz was worshipped throughout the Mediterranean well into the Christian era. Just as Christendom drapes its churches in black and laments the crucifixion of Jesus on Good Friday, the holy mantra, and here's the mantra, Thamus Pan Megas Tefneki, which means, and the pagans chanted that at a certain time of year, which translates, the all great Tammuz is dead. And that was ceremonially chanted on the summer solstice by devotees of Tammuz to observe the yearly death of their Redeemer God and Shepherd. It's far more likely that if Thamus the sailor heard anything, it was this well-known chant for the worship of Pan, remained alive for well over 2 centuries after this alleged epitaph. Okay. That was a digression in print. Okay. Does this mean that Jesus Christ will become the devil of the age of Aquarius? Probably not. But the spiritual significance of his deity will, in all likelihood, be drastically different from that expounded by the exoteric doctrines of the last 2,000 years. And it will surely appear to the last vestiges of Piscean age establishments that the new spiritual impulse is anti-Jehovah, anti-Allah, anti-Christ, and all the gods of the new age are devils. Can you see that at work with everybody resisting the Freedom of Marriage Act and well, you can just see it on the news every day, the last vestiges of Piscean age establishment. After years of isolation on the Amanita Muscaria Isle of Patmos, St. John the Divine wrote down his vision of the awesome and terrible events which were to characterize the end of his age. Now, his age was the Piscean age, okay? This revelation was peopled with many strange and colorful spiritual personages, such as the 7 angels, the 4 horsemen, the lamb, the lion of Judah, an eagle, locusts, got to have locusts, a woman clothed with the sun with the moon under her feet, a fiery dragon, the serpent called the devil and Satan, the archangel Michael, wild beasts, one from the sea, one from the earth, and perhaps the most colorful character of all, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. It is she who becomes drunk on the blood of the martyred saints, an act that serves as a catalyst to the climactic defeat of the enemies of the Lamb. As is often the case when one explores Kabbalistic literature, the villains of the exoteric narrative become the heroes of the esoteric interpretation and vice versa. Naturally, at the beginning of each cycle, the gods of the new age will appear at first somewhat sinister. The more one is committed to the magical formula of the old age, the more strange and evil the new gods will appear. Keeping in mind the fact that John, or whoever wrote the book credited to him, was sensitive to the spiritual changes at the dawn of the Piscean age, can we, in all fairness, expect him to be an unbiased interpreter of prophetic images that symbolizes the forces that would, in 2,000 years, bring the age of his beloved Savior to an end? Perhaps for us, the Whore of Babylon, the Great Dragon, or even the Beast 666 are perfectly wholesome spiritual personifications of the mechanics of the growth spurt of a new age. That's my comment on the age of Aquarius. And the next section is called the Equinox of the Gods and the magical pantheon of a new aeon. Before we move on, I wish to talk briefly about one more timeline of the ages that is of singular importance to the subject of magical pantheons. To understand this timeline, we must pool what we've already learned about the astrological ages and view history from a much broader perspective. This chart is not measured by years or astrological ages, but instead, its lines of demarcation are set by the most fundamental evolutionary stages of human consciousness and relate directly to our most basic perceptions of reality. There is no mightier God than that which presides over the universal self-image of the race. Whenever this self-image is amended, the magical formula which expresses the essence of this God's character is also changed. Periodically, as our consciousness expands and our understanding of ourselves and the universe improves, we find that the old ways of doing business, including magic, are no longer efficient. The beginning of such periods of profound spiritual change is called the equinox of the gods. And according to a wide spectrum of modern ceremonial magicians, the planet has just recently experienced one. Early in this century, well, when I wrote this, it was this century, early in the 20th century, I guess I'll say now, and I've got a footnote here, Aleister Crowley, and I have 1875 to 1946. No matter what one's opinion of Crowley may be, his magical writings remain an invaluable source to students of the Western Hermeticism, especially his elucidations on the nature of magical aeons. That was my footnote digression. Early in this century, Aleister Crowley postulated that within racial memory, there have been 3 such magical aeons, to which he assigned the rulership of 3 principal gods of Egypt, Isis, Osiris, and Horus. We have just entered, according to Crowley, March 20th, 1904. We have just entered the aeon of Horus. The previous aeon was that of Osiris, and before that, Isis. The reader may ask at this point, what modification of human consciousness could possibly be so universal as to justify an equinox of the gods? The answer, not surprisingly, involves humanity's evolving perception of our relationship with the primary god of our solar system, the sun. In order for us to more easily understand the magical significance of the new aeon, let's take just a moment to trace the trajectory upon which our evolving solar consciousness has propelled us in the last 2 aeons. And I'm going to briefly talk about the aeon of Isis, the aeon of Osiris, and the aeon of Horus. And it's almost too much to do here at the end of today. I don't want to leave a cliffhanger for Monday, but I think I will. We're going to talk about the last 2 magical aeons and how they set the stage for the aeon of Horus. Now, tomorrow is Monday, and there is a very, very special live television event that Constance and I will want to watch as it's happening. And I believe it starts at 9 a.m. our time and will probably go at least 2 hours. So one of 2 things are going to happen with tomorrow's show. I'm either going to have to do it early, which I probably will, or I will do it a bit late. In either way, be ready for either an early or a late reading for tomorrow. But as long as I'm kicking, I'll do it whenever the time is. Okay. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. I'm going to get into a hooded sweatshirt and have a hot cup of something. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.